want a war? You're going to get one.
What was that? He had enough time for one more play.
He had an opportunity to win that game at the end.
But the referee screwed us. The brother screwed us.
I'm upset, but
the brother screwed us.
At least they fought back and tried.
Only Cowboys game.
You literally.
The brother screwed us. The brother screwed us. We had one man opportunity for one more play.
Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Kid Dig back here, and welcome to an interesting Friday, late morning, early afternoon conversation, which I think is going to be very interesting. Let me start off by saying, what is going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Greg Little, what's going on? Richie, Cosmo, Kramer, Jeff, Little Griffith, Mean Metal Mike, 1258. What's going on? Donnie, Logan Motorsports, Daniel Ruiz, Michael, RR Real Rich, what's happening? Big Gucci, what's going on? Christine, what's happening? Thank you guys so much for being here. Why Jim Box? What was the other name you used to have? Because these ads always screw me up. At Jimbo, what's happening? Jules, Montreal, Steven, Royalty in the house, Dog Princess of YouTube's here, Lakers, Petey Tatted, Rufus, Troy. Thank you everybody for joining me. This is going to be interesting because I find this conversation to really spark a lot of outrage at some people and just some interesting ideas. Obviously, you know, we've heard a lot about, well, the Eagles aren't doing a lot. They haven't done enough yet. What are they doing? And I've been saying, it is early. It is March. A lot has to happen. And I knew, and we talked about this a week ago, it was only a matter of time before Myles Garrett's name was going to come out. That's right. Myles Garrett is who we are talking about. And this is what kind of started this whole thing, for those that missed it, right? The Browns and Myles Garrett have agreed to move $29 million roster bonus owed to him yesterday to $830 per Field Yates. This would theoretically increase Garrett's ability to be traded over the summer as it lessens future dead cap hit to a team. Is Myles Garrett on the move? And so this kind of started a lot of rumors about why they would do this if this means that Myles Garrett would be traded. Now, we got to say that the latest is kind of this, that the Browns are adamant that they will not be trading Myles Garrett. This is what they're saying, that they're not interested in doing it. It was just for cap purposes. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe it. I do not believe it, and I do not think Myles Garrett will be a Cleveland Brown next year. I do not think you go and do this right now unless you were trying to set up the ability to at least take trade offers and see what the market brings. I mean, let's face it, they're the Browns. They're not ready to win anytime soon. They should be considering moving him. Jack Duffin wrote this: Pound Browns continue to brief through the media that they aren't trading Myles. How about they brief what they're doing in 2026? They could have easily made changes to his contract in 27, 28 without ever touching 26. Old enough to remember when Cowboys briefed, they weren't trading Parsons. And that's right. We always hear teams, well, I'm not moving this guy. I'm not moving that guy. We're not moving Max Crosby. Teams are always going to say that. They kind of got to, right? So I do think he will be on the move. Now, where he goes, that's the question. And that is something we are going to talk about today. Nick, thank you for Super Chat. 2 firsts, a third, and Ojomo for Garrett. I love it. I love it. You know, America's Screechy Eagle, my man, shout out to you. Thank you so much for Super Chat, man. How generous of you. Thank you so much. Bring Myles Garrett to Philly and add our monster to our monster scary defense. Let's get Myles Garrett a Super Bowl ring, and you would instantly be a Super Bowl contender. You're going back to Super Bowl, in my opinion, if you do that. So I agree, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Now Richie says Myles Garrett is not playing next season for less than $10 million. Any team he is on would have to restructure his contract. No, they wouldn't. His contract's already restructured. Matter of fact, I've got the breakdown of what it would cost the team to have him. His contract is set. So the reason why they did this was because they wanted to set up a conducive situation in order to move him. I'm going to show you his numbers, what it would cost a team. Hold on if I can find it. Let me show you what it would cost if you were to acquire Myles Garrett. And I'm going to make the argument today that getting Myles Garrett is what the Eagles are going to try to do. But here's his contract. Based on after restructuring his contract, which he already did, this is it. If the team was to trade for him, Myles Garrett would cost them $9.1 million in 2026. He would be $17 million in 2027. 2028, it would be $21 million. 2029, $57 million. 2030, $57 million. And in 2031, it's a dead cap money. This is obviously the cap number against the team that's trading him. These are doable numbers. These are very, very doable numbers for a team, especially like the Eagles. So there is no issue with will they be able to afford them? Will they be able to do this or that? And before I turn this thing over to you guys, I'm going to say this. If you connect the dots and you look at everything, the Eagles, they're going to be players in this, okay? Think about this. When talking about Myles Garrett, we got to go back a year ago, the last offseason, when reports were the Eagles were trying to trade for Myles Garrett last year. Then Myles got his new contract. Everybody thought that was kind of over. Go into the summer, and you go into almost the season starting, we find out that the Eagles were players in Micah Parsons. They almost got him. Micah Parsons' own words said, "Sorry, Cowboy fans. I hate to tell you, but I was almost an Eagle." It didn't work out. They couldn't agree on who the defensive tackle they were going to trade was going to be. But the Eagles made an effort to get Micah Parsons. Then, fast forward to the trade deadline. We're getting close to the trade deadline. We get reports that the Eagles offered 3 number 1s to try to pry Myles Garrett away from the Cleveland Browns. Browns did not accept, and the Eagles went and traded a 3rd rounder for Jalen Phillips. A 3rd rounder that they could easily lose if he walked, which he did. Then the Eagles go into the offseason or go into free agency, and what do? They try to pay $27 million to Jalen Phillips to keep him. They've also talked about Jonathan Grenard, and the one conclusion that you can make with the Philadelphia Eagles is they are after an elite pass rusher. They are willing to pay for it. They've been trying to get one for more than 1 year. And if Myles Garrett, which I believe he is now, on the block, why would the Eagles all of a sudden not be interested in him when they need the position anyways? So my point is, I don't know where he's going to land. I think there'll be a lot of teams involved. But I do think he's getting traded, and I do think the Eagles are going to be major players in this. Will that get it done? I don't know. And my argument is that history, especially recent history, and the way the Eagles have acted towards elite pass rushers, we know that they're most likely going to make a play for this. So buckle up, because I think it's going to get very, very interesting. Now, with that said, I'm going to turn this over to the chat. And we'll just jump right into that. Nick Davis Super Chat. He goes, Howie needs to go all in. Can't let him go to Dallas. If he went to Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys are then instant Super Bowl contenders. I think that's enough to really change that defense. You can't deny it. If they got Max Crosby, that would be big. It would be big. There's no getting around it. So yeah, you want to stop that? You know, American Screeching Eagle, thank you for the super chat, my man. I appreciate you. Thank you. Does that mean we will have to trade A.J. Brown for Myles Garrett? And how about them Phillies? Yeah, I caught the end of the Phillies game yesterday. But as far as A.J. Brown, it doesn't mean we'll have to trade A.J. Brown. I would argue that you keep A.J. Brown if you get Myles Garrett. My argument would be if you're going to get Myles Garrett, I think you got to keep Jalen Carter and you got to try to think about keeping A.J. Brown. Because if you trade first-round picks away to get Garrett, how are you going to replace A.J. Brown? You're not going to have the first-round picks to take a first-round wide receiver. And thank you once again, my man, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Kids at Play, thank you for the super chat, my man. He said, at Kids at Play. Thank you so much. And so what I want to know is what you guys are thinking. I'm thinking, and nobody's going to be able to convince me that this thing is not real. I think it's very, very real. I do not believe the Browns are not trying to trade him. They might not do it if they don't get what they want, but it's so interesting watching all these Browns radio stations panicking about it, you know? And it's just, when you're that bad that long, you kind of forget that the first team you're supposed to root for is the team in the front, not the name on the back. And you look at the teams like the Browns where you got every year you stink. You may have a great player, you may get some great players here or there, but you can't build a team. This could really rebuild the Cleveland Browns if done right. So what happens to his no trade clause? Well, if he has a no trade clause, he has a no trade clause. But I'm going to argue this. He has made comments before about playing with the Eagles. About, everybody wants to come play with the Eagles at some point. I don't think he would hold a trade. I don't think he would not waive his trade clause to come to the Eagles. I think he would gladly come to the Eagles. The Browns said they restructured his contract to save cap space, not to trade him. Everything is just made. Yeah, but why do you believe that? Why would you believe the Browns when constantly, consistently, teams throughout the NFL say this shit every year? They said it about Max Crosby. They said it about Micah Parsons. These teams always say that they're not trading a guy. Of course, they're trying to negotiate to get the best price. Why are they going to tell everybody, yes, we are trading them? They'll get lowballed offers. You can't believe that. I do not believe that for an instant. Matter of fact, I don't think there's any other reason than to do it right now. Anything to prevent him from going to Dallas. Yeah, going to Dallas would be bad. I'm at the point with everything. When the news drops, then I'll take it seriously. Going day to day now, it's you got to do what you got to do. I don't do that. That's not. I'm more naturally a person who loves to speculate, loves to try to figure out what's going on and what's really happening. So this stuff's right up my alley. Cleveland ownership has talked recently about moving on from Shedeur Sanders. So he thought, Shedeur Sanders is unproven. The guy made a Pro Bowl. What did he do? Like I'm not saying he won't be good. I'm not even saying he didn't get drafted late. He should have been drafted earlier. But I don't know what kind of quarterback he is. Carter and 2-1s for Garrett. See, I don't want to trade Jalen Carter. To me, the attractive part of Myles Garrett is to keep him with Carter. I want him to play with Carter. That's why I want him. So I wouldn't move Carter. And I wouldn't move AJ. Get Myles Garrett. How would you pay Coop and Carter? You pay them like you pay anybody else. You make it work under the cap. Cap's only going up. The Eagles, they have over $100 million next year. And I broke this down. This is what your cap numbers are with Myles Garrett. That's not doable? $9 million, then $17 million, then $21 million. I don't know, man. It sounds pretty doable to me. Sounds like you can make it work. You are also going to lose guys like Lane's going to retire. AJ's probably gone after this year. You got the money. Money's not going to be a problem. It will cost us way more than AJ. Oh, it's going to cost you way more than AJ. I'm thinking, here's my proposal. And we got 472 people in here. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate yes. My proposal is this. All right. A first round pick in 2026. A second and third in 2027. A first in 2028 and Nolan Smith. Do you think that gets it done? So 2 ones, a second, a third, and Nolan Smith. That would be my offer. My stance on Max Crosby is you potentially have to go try to get him as well. He should be another guy. Here's the issue. Here's one of the reasons why I'm pushing for these two guys. Did you guys see the reports about Jonathan Grenard? All right, Jonathan Grenard's asking for Jalen Phillips money. He wants $30 million a year. When they talked about getting him, he was supposed to come in around $20 to $22 million a year per his contract. Now they're talking about $30 million for Grenard. I'm not paying him $30 million. If I have to do that, then let me go get one of these guys. You know what I mean? Yeah, well, that's what makes the Eagles so dangerous to other teams in the league. Is that he's willing to pay the dead money, he's willing to pay the cash up front, and it makes owners look bad, and that's why they're trying to change the rules. 500. I'm not sure if you saw what it said, but I'm trading AJ to less than the amount of draft picks I got to give. And I'm also giving them Nolan Smith and a couple picks. So you want to give what? AJ, Nolan Smith, and then what? Like a first or something like that? Question is if you were the Browns, would you want AJ? See, I'm thinking if you're the Browns, you probably want, right? You're probably going, man, we get multiple first-round picks, put us in a position to go get Arch Manning. I mean, the Browns, what did they do? What if the Browns done this all season? If you're a Cleveland Brown fan, you're in hell. Well, great. You got Myles Garrett. You're not making the playoffs. You're not a very good team, and you're not going to be a good team. How do you change it? You've got to do something ballsy, and you got to do something that really changes your franchise. This is the move. I do not believe Myles Garrett. Nobody's going to convince me Myles Garrett's going to be on the Browns when the season starts. I do not think he's going to be there. So the question is where is he going to be? And do you want him to be in Dallas? Yeah, you're out on Grenard. Right, because of the money. I mean, $30 million for Grenard? Nah, I'm not doing that, dude. Honestly, I think it will cost 3 number 1. It might. Yeah, it might. It might. I'm trading a 26 first, 27 first, 28 third, Ojomo, and Nolan. Yeah, I mean, I would do that too. I'm trying to find a way to keep that 2027 pick, but it may be impossible. It just seems like selling the farm, and we could give up less for a similarly productive player. It seems like selling the farm, but who? Wait a second. Who is similar? Like, who's a similar player to Myles Garrett in the league? Like, I mean, there's nobody close to Myles Garrett. Here's his numbers, right? 2017, 7 sacks. 2018, 13 and a half sacks. 2019, 10 sacks. 2020, 12 sacks. 2021, 16. 2022, 16. 2023, 14. 2024, 14. 2025, 23. This is against teams that are usually beating them and running the ball to try to run the clock out in the fourth quarter. Could you imagine if he played on a team that was up and the other team had to throw the ball consistently? There is nobody. And what I'm saying, Emre, is there's nobody similar. Who's even close to this guy? Who's even close to him? I don't think there is. Because, look, I would never. I can't think of any other players that I would trade that are currently in the league that I would be willing to give up a haul for, a non-quarterback. I can't think of any except for him. He's not going to go to Dallas. He's going to go to a Super Bowl contender. Well, I hope so, but look, you have to we have to be honest with ourselves. Dallas has got 2 first-round picks this year. They need an edge rusher. They tried to get Max Crosby. They offered a first and a second. Dallas, as I said to Mark the other day, they haven't done enough. If you look at them for what they need, they haven't done enough. They get Max Crosby. That's a problem. That's a problem. Howie Roseman still has not picked up Nolan's junior 5th-year option, so that says Howie has already devalued Nolan. Yeah, I mean, he's got till May. He'll pick it up, but you know, yeah. Sylv says, I'm trading my left and right testings to get Garrett on the squad to get it done, Howie. I mean, to me, if you could get him, holy crap. Holy crap. He's 30 years old, and this is the problem. If you want to make an argument, at least to convince me that we shouldn't do it, the argument has to be his age. Because that's the one hiccup that I don't like. I don't like that he's a little older, you know. But, you know, he's 6'4", 272. He's 30 years old. So he'll be 31 in December. But when you look at Myles Garrett, he doesn't play in playoff games. So I don't know how bad his wear and tear is. Somebody said something to me to the effect that his feet are growing or something. I don't know his feet are still growing. But, I mean, I look at Myles, I say, can he play 4 more years at a high level? And I think he can. Look, Nolan Smith has the potential to be good. And I wouldn't write him off yet. Okay? But if you were to acquire Myles Garrett, I think he's expendable because you got Myles Garrett. So I think in that light, you could get some value for him. But if we go in a season and Myles is, Nolan's still there, Nolan's got the potential to be good. You know, he's just got to get healthy. I'm not giving up on him, but he hasn't lived up. He hasn't lived up to his ability. Devontae Jones, thank you for the super chat, my man. I appreciate it. I seen a report from a semi-reliable Eagles insider that Grenard might be a draft day or right before the draft trade. If the reports are true, he wants $30 million. I doubt that. We should 100% be on Crosby or Garrett trade. Yeah, and that's my thinking too, because it's exactly right. Because when we talked about it, and when we were looking about the salary projections, they were saying about 20 to 22 million per year is what he was getting. Now you're going to trade for him for 20, 22 million a year. That's about what Sweat makes. Yeah, that's doable. But 30 million, if they're not going to give Jalen Phillips 30, they're not giving 30 million is too much. So I would pursue Crosby and I would pursue Garrett. And I don't believe Cleveland at all. I don't believe them at all. And thank you for that super chat, my man. It's very generous of you. Coach Trent says, would you trade Campbell and a first and a second for Garrett? I would. Yeah, I would. The only issue I have with that is that, damn it, I wish we would have kept Nakobe, But yeah, there's not much. I think Myles Garrett's such a game changer. Because I look at it like this. You're getting, I don't think he's as good as Reggie White was, but you're getting a Hall of Fame defensive player in the prime of his career. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think there's anybody else in the league that is worth doing this for. Devontae Jones, thank you for the super chat. Also, Schefter said AJ's more likely not going to get traded and Philly wants him. Yeah, and that's what we've kind of thought that, you know what I'm saying? That's what we kind of thought, and that's good. I mean, that's good. Joseph Franklin says, I'm late. What are we looking to trade for Myles? Yeah, I mean, you got to think if Max Crosby went for 2 1s, Myles has to be more than that. So, I mean, people are talking like 2 1s plus maybe 3 1s. So I'm thinking something like I suggested a 2026 first, a 2027 second and third, a 2028 first to Nolan Smith. That's a big haul, but man, what that would do to the Eagles. Yeah, Kelvin says, remember when Garrett wanted to leave before he said he wanted to go to a contender, and what happened? Cleveland gave him more money, so he stayed. So don't get your hopes up for him coming to the Eagles. Well, I mean, the Eagles got to go out and get him. That's a whole different thing. But based upon what they did to restructure his contract, it's very hard for me to believe that there wasn't a reason for that. I tell you this, I don't believe he will be in Cleveland next year. I truly don't think he's going to end up in Cleveland. He'll be somewhere else. I don't know where, but he ain't going to be in Cleveland. Otherwise, there's no reason to do what they did. Nick, thank you for Super Chat. I don't think people get how great Myles is 500. Yeah, I agree. I don't think so because people don't watch Cleveland because Cleveland stinks every year. But Cleveland, I mean, the one thing with them is he's your chip. If you could get a haul for him and hit on your draft picks, kind of like Herschel Walker, he could rebuild the Cleveland Browns. But if you wait, you're going to get less. If let's say you go in the next year and he has 13 sacks, guess what? You're not getting 2 ones. This is their year. They've got to trade him or they don't gain value. I agree. Garrett to Philly is like, it's on. Yeah, it's similar. I think it's similar. Oh, Coach Trent, welcome to Dingbat Nation, my man. Thank you so much, man. Welcome to Dingbat Nation. The Browns won't want AJ. They're going to want young players. Yeah, they're going to want young players and draft picks. If done right, Cleveland could rebuild their whole team with this move. Dale says, I say 2 first-round picks, a third, and a shaky weight from Myles should get it. A shaky weight. I think you have to throw Nolan Smith in, and Nolan Smith is a good, like, he could still be very good, but he's young. He's young, Philly, how about a 126 and 128 at Carter? Would the Browns bite? I don't know. They might. I have no doubt the Browns are going to ask for Carter back. I think the Eagles need to not trade Carter. To me, the idea is to keep Carter and to keep Myles. I want to pair them up. That's like that would be the closest that the Eagles have had to Reggie White and Jerome Brown. It would. And so to me, I look at it like I want Myles. I want him with Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Jalix Hunt. I got to find a way to keep him. You just want AJ. I do. I do. I'm guilty as charged. I do want him. Not only did they move his contract around, they proposed a rule to be able to trade first-round picks for 3 years in advance. Yeah, right? So they added, the Browns also, they proposed a rule that would allow you to trade draft picks up to 5 years in advance. Right? So I think it's like right now you can do what, 2 or 3? They want to add like 3 years to it. So that could be another thing that they're trying to do to entice teams to give them later draft picks. Why would you want to do that? Here's one of the reasons you might want to do that. Let's say you get a team, right? The teams that go for Myles Garrett are probably going to tend to be good teams that are trying to compete. Well, if you get advanced first-round picks, they may not be as good in those future years, and that may be more attractive to them. So, yeah, it's interesting. I do not believe for one instant you make that move if you're the Browns, if you're not trying to trade them. Now, they're not gonna trade him for nothing. Don't get me wrong, but if I was the Browns, I would trade Myles Garrett. I would, and I would tell Myles, we're trying to move you. We're gonna send you somewhere you want to go, but man, if you don't complain, if you don't say anything, and you play it good, and we act like we're not trying to trade you, we are going to get more for you. Devontae Jones, thank you for the super chat, my man. Appreciate it. The Cowboys are the team in the best position to get Garrett or Crosby. They have 3 first-round picks the next 2 seasons. Eagles have to play spoiler man. I agree. Like, to me, if the Cowboys get Myles Garrett, they have significantly made themselves better. Because if you look at that defensive line with the 2 defensive tackles they get to add an edge rusher, that defense is going to be way better than it was a year ago. It just is. And they've got the first-round picks to give away. So Dallas, to me, if I'm Dallas, there ain't no way I'm not doing this. And if I'm the Eagles, I'm getting Myles and blocking Dallas. Trading for Myles would also guarantee Schwartz takes over Vic. It could potentially, yeah. Did Dallas get 3 first rounds for Micah? If they did, Garrett will take 3 firsts and Nolan or AJ to get that. No, they didn't get 3 firsts. I think they got 2 players. I think they got 2 firsts. I think they got 2 firsts and a player, right? I think it was 2 firsts and a player. No, the 2 things I don't want to do is I don't want to give up Carter and I don't want to give up AJ. And the reason why I don't want to do that is because if I have to give multiple first round picks to the Browns, how am I going to replace A.J.Brown? I don't have a first round option to draft a receiver. So to me, I would rather keep A.J.Brown 1 more year. And you're only going to be that much better. Because if the Eagles, let's face it, if the Eagles add Myles Garrett, they're going back to the Super Bowl. I think the Ravens are going to go after Garrett too. They wanted Crosby. Yeah, I mean, they wanted Crosby and Hendrickson to play to each other, right? Leave Nolan out of it. It's not personal with Nolan, by the way. It's not because I don't like Nolan. I'm just thinking he's probably the odd man out because it's the same position. Are the Eagles going to extend Nolan Smith if you get Myles Garrett? I mean, probably not. Do you think it's going to be a problem trying to pay Myles Garrett down the line almost $60 million a year while trying to pay Jalen Hurts, Jalen Carter? No, I don't. I mean, they'll have to make adjustments. You know, there's no question, and especially when you look at the numbers, it's friendly cap wise. I mean, here's what this is: the cap numbers. You know, of course, it's more money than just the cap numbers. You got bonuses and things like that, but the Eagles usually are okay with that. When you look in terms, of the cap number, $9 million. Whoever gets him is only going to have to pay him $9 million against the cap. Next year, it's only $17 million. 2028, it's $21 million. So up until 2029, when you might need to restructure or do something, I think it's very manageable. Very manageable. You know, and the cap continues to go up. And then you're going to have guys that are going to come off the books. I think the Eagles are over $100 million under the cap next year so far. I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. And that's why they restructured, so they can put it in that position. I'm giving up A.J. Nolan a couple picks because I'm looking I get a wide receiver for my quarterback. I get a young talent edge. Then I can get people in the draft. I think it would work and make sense. Yeah, the only thing that I'll say is my only rebut is that I don't know if it works for the Browns. If you're the Browns, why do you want A.J. Brown? Like, you're obviously trying to rebuild through the draft. Why do you want a 29-year-old receiver? You're better off with. I would want the picks over the player. Dog, thank you for super chat, my man. No point in getting Myles if we lose Carter or JD. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I feel. Like the whole point is to make that defensive line like unstoppable. Yeah, Myles and Jordan Davis would be a fire duo. Myles Davis and Carter would be insane. You know? So how does Carter take a massive hometown discount to retain? I don't think he needs to. I don't think he would need to. You know what you're doing is you're basically taking the money. You look at all the guys they were paying on the offense, and they're paying guys a lot of money. You're just taking that and you're kind of just shuffling it around. So you're going to have to go, there would be certain positions where you're going to have to go cheap, right? Like safety. Like, you know why the Eagles don't want to go out and pay safety? Because they're going to use those safeties to go cheap on to pay those corners. So there are ways to do it. You don't pay the other defensive end, right? You can go cheap on that other side. I mean, there are ways to manipulate it. The one thing I don't worry about is Howie Roseman manipulating the money and manipulating the cap. That's his area of strength. Think about how we can get Carter instantly under control at Myles' presence. I think it would be huge, yeah. King Tone, thank you for the super chat. If a team really wants to move a player, they will. Dead cap doesn't stop anything. Look at the Dolphins. They blew it up and didn't think twice. All this A.J.Brown talk is just noise. A lot of it is noise. I don't think the Eagles are doing anything in terms of A.J. because of the cap. I don't think that at all. Dallas has less salary cap, though, regardless. They do. And like I said, cap number is not a problem for 3 years. $9 million this year, $17 million, $21 million. I mean, that's not much money. The problem comes more 2029, 2030, where it kind of balloons. Well, that's when you restructure. Howie does Howie things at that moment. Nolan's a bust. I don't think Nolan's a bust. I think it's too early to call him a bust. But I do think that he's on a prove-it year, Nick, thank you for super chat. We have better players to offer than Dallas does. That's true. That's true. Here's the one thing that we got to remember. Last offseason, the Eagles tried to trade for Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett put a goodbye letter out there thanking Cleveland fans. He was gone. The Eagles then tried, remember the reports, they offered 3 number 1s for him at the trade deadline. So they obviously want him. They obviously went after Parsons. I think the Eagles want an elite pass rusher. Dalton Davis super chat. I was rolling the other day when Mark called Nelson Aguilar regular on the Cilio show. Love your reactions when he screws half the players every week. Oh my God, he does it every week too. It's hilarious. And thank you for that super chat. Kyle, thank you for super chat. Philly, how long was I talking about Chris Bell, kid, a first rounder? Only reason he's falling because of ACL injury. Take him in round 2. Yeah, you've been talking about him a while. You were the first guy I think that I even heard who he was. But yeah, he could be a guy that you take in round 2. There's no doubt. Rocky Davis super chat. I'm not trading JC or Jordan under any circumstances. Yeah, to me that just defeats the purpose. You've got to go cheap in other areas. Do it, but man, after next year you'll lose the AJ salary. Lane Johnson's going to retire. You're going to lose that salary. It definitely can be done. Yeah, I don't agree with you, Tiffany. I think he's as good as gone. And the reason why I say that is because I don't believe them. There's too many examples. We can think of 2 just in the last year that claim we are not trading this person. It is not happening. Stop asking us. Stop talking about it. And then all of a sudden they trade him. Max Crosby was one. The Raiders, they kept saying we're not trading him. Trade him. And then Micah Parsons. So why would I believe the Browns? I mean, if you're Browns, why wouldn't you do it? If you wait a year, you're going to lose value. He can literally transform that team into a winner by giving them multiple draft picks. So I just don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't believe I do not believe Myles Garrett will be on the Browns. I'm not saying he's going to be on the Eagles. I don't know where he's going to be, but I don't think he's going to be on the Browns. Hey, Philly, did you hear Mark in one of his videos the other day talking about if a team offers the Cowboys 4 number ones for Dak Prescott, he said he would think about it? Dude, I would have traded, if I was the Cowboys, I would have traded him this offseason. So Newsweek bring back Myles? Nah, that's not it at all. You're totally mistaken, and you're totally wrong about that. The reason why we're talking about Myles Garrett is because Myles Garrett, they just set his contract up by restructuring after 1 year to trade him. And they basically restructured that contract to make it doable. Now, when you look at the Eagles and you look at what they've tried to do at the edge rusher position for 2 years, it's not a slow week. It's reality. Reality. There's a situation here. And if people want to sleep on it, go ahead. But nah, he's getting traded. And it's wide open. I don't know what team's going to get him. I think the Eagles are going to be involved. I think the Cowboys are going to be involved. And I'm telling people right now, you can sleep on it if you want. You can think it's clickbait or bullshit. It ain't. It's happening. Just like I said, the A.J.Brown's going to get traded. Just like when I said Saquon Barkley coming to Philly. I hear the same shit. And it's not. I'm telling you because it's a real situation. This Myles Garrett situation is as real as it gets. Bleed Blue says 500. Y'all can't have Myles Garrett. One, he wants to come on home. Secondly, because Stone Cold's... Yeah, Dallas fans always think that the players want to go back to Dallas. Nobody wants to go there. Myles Garrett already talked about being an Eagle before. I live in Louisville. Everyone here wouldn't shut up about how good Chris Bell was before that injury. Yeah, I mean, I hear great things about him. I like his size for sure. There's no question about it. What up, Mayday? What up, Mayday? How are you? The problem becomes O-line next few years if we have no picks. Well, you'll still have picks. You just won't have first-round picks. You know, so can they continually hit on second, third-round picks with the offensive line? You know, look, it is a situation. I also think it's one of the reasons why you don't trade AJ. I don't see Howie doing the trade. He's going in the draft to draft 6'2", 230. Those are the studs Howie likes. Really? Then how come he offered 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett? Why did he offer 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett at the trade deadline? So you're going to tell me that Myles Garrett is going to get shopped, and the guy that offered 3 first-round picks a few months ago is out? It doesn't make any sense. He isn't coming to Philly. One could only wish. Well, I hate to tell you, he may not, but the Eagles are going to be involved in it, and that's just reality. Phil, we are acting for Myles Garrett like the Patriots fans are being A.J. Brown, myself. Not at all. Not at all. Totally 2 different things. One, A.J. Brown plays for a Super Bowl contender that just won a Super Bowl the year before. A.J. Brown is under contract, and A.J. Brown, he already plays with a winner. The Cleveland Browns adjusted this man's contract to have options to move him. He's on a team that loses every year. He's 30 years old, and his value is right now. It is 2 different things. What the Patriot fans are saying is we deserve A.J. Brown because we feel like it. What we're saying is Myles Garrett's on the block, and the Eagles offered 3 first-round picks. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. It's not even close. One thing I'm pretty comfortable saying, Myles Garrett's getting traded. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Now, do the Eagles make a move for him? Well, it's hard for me to believe that a team offers 3 first-round picks for a guy a couple months ago, and then all of a sudden they're out on him. I don't believe it. I think they're going to be involved. The difference between us and the Browns is we are contenders already. I mean, the Patriots. We're a better team than the Patriots. The Browns stink. Dog, David Super Chat. Myles just had a record-setting year, and the Browns weren't any closer to winning a damn thing. It does make sense for them to keep him. It doesn't. No, it doesn't. I mean, they could rebuild their whole team for him. Completely different thing. You know, and thank you, Dalton, for Super Chat. Yeah, the first part was enough for me. You're right, the Browns stink. They stink. And if you're the Browns, I mean, look, see, when you lose as much as the Browns, their fans, all they have is the names on the back. But it's if they really want to fix that team, and it has nothing to do with the Eagles. If you're a Brown, if I was a Browns fan, I would say trade Myles Garrett. Trade him, try to get a Herschel Walker deal, and then rebuild the team. Because how else are they going to get good? I believe round 1 is a trench pick. Oh, I do too. I think it's offensive line in the draft. Yeah. Would you rather have? I would rather have Myles Garrett. Look, I believe Myles Garrett's a Hall of Famer. I believe Myles Garrett is a Hall of Famer. I think he's one of the best defensive edge rushers. I think he's one of the best pass rushers we've seen. I don't think he's as good as Reggie White was, but I think he's up there with the Derek Thomases and those guys. I think he's a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, I would. Browns would let him die on the vine rather than give him up for dudes. I don't know anymore. I mean, maybe for other players, but I think that move with the Browns did yesterday with his contract after just 1 year. Nah, it's weird. Like the guy said. This guy said. I read this earlier. Not here, but this. No, not that. Where is it? What he said right here, I totally agree with. Okay, if the Browns really were just trying to worry about their contract, there's no point in touching the 2026 contract. You just change the 27-28. Why do you restructure the 2026 deal? You got to pay him the money anyways. So the fact that they changed the contract, including 2026, you only do that for one reason. You do that because you want to move them and you want to make it easier so you maximize what you get. No player like Myles Garrett wants to deal with Jerry Jones' circus. I hope you're right. I do think the Cowboys are a legit threat to get him. I think they are a legit threat to get him. Myles will have 24 sacks and beat. I don't know if he'll get 24 sacks again. I mean, but I will say this. I'll give you this. If you look at his career, right, he's got 7 in 2017, 2018, 13.5, 2019, 10, 2020, 12. Then it becomes like repeating every year. So he's got 21. In 2021, he had 16 sacks. Also in 2022. Then he comes back in 23, he has 14 sacks. Then 2024, he has 14 sacks. So if that pattern holds, 2025, 23 sacks. 2026, going to be 23 sacks. 500, I agree. If the Browns were a serious organization, Myles would be out the door. But again, there's no effing way Howie offered 3-1s for him, no matter what you heard. Well, I mean, you can say that, but we don't. We only have what the reports say. You know, I'm not talking to Howie, and Howie wouldn't even admit it if he did. You know, when they asked Howie about the offers, Howie made some comment about always trying to get good players and bring them in. So he didn't deny it. But can I prove it? No, but we can't prove it didn't happen. We can only go on those reports, Bonzology, and we do know that the Eagles also made a play for Micah Parsons. They almost got him. It was down to them and the Packers. And we do know that the Eagles tried to get Myles Garrett last offseason. So if you connect the dots, what can we gauge from it? That the Eagles are looking for an elite pass rusher. So I tend to believe it. I tend to believe that they probably tried to get him during the trade deadline. Rocky David Super J goes, breaking news, Hurts cut off his goatee. Okay. Did he look weird? Philly, if we get Garrett and the Eagles offense is the same, it would be like Garrett playing on the Browns. No. The Eagles are a playoff team. The Browns stink. So if the Eagles are just the same team that they were last year, they're still a playoff team. The Browns stink. Has Garrett even ever played a playoff game in his life? No, it's not the same. And the offense isn't going to be the same, by the way. You know? If we did give up 3 first-round picks for Garrett, can we get some picks back if we trade? Yeah, I mean, you could. You could definitely do that. I don't think Truth Speak. I don't think you're talking to me. So I'm going to ignore it. I truly mean no harm, but I hate when we do this. We is not trading for Myles. We offered last year because Davis wasn't paid. We would be $200 million against the cap with Davis, Myles. How do you know you'd be $200 million against the cap? Well, on what planet makes you think that? I mean, you're just throwing out $200 million against the cap. Where do you get that number? How are you getting that number? I could show you here. Let's look at it. All right, so if you have Myles Garrett on your team, he's $9 million against the cap in 2026. Where's the $200 million? In 2027, he's $17 million against the cap. Where's the $200 million? 2028, he's $21 million against the cap. That's 2028. That's 3 years. $21 million. Where's the $200 million? What are you talking about? You're just throwing out numbers because you can't comprehend that the Eagles could do something like that. But Myles Garrett's numbers are very workable. So I don't agree with you at all. And I got to tell you, I've been doing this long enough to know that when people say, we're definitely not doing this, we're definitely not doing that, you should never listen to it. You go with your gut, you connect the dots, you make the best conclusion that you can make. And when you look at all the evidence, Myles Garrett getting traded, it's going to happen. He is not going to be a Brown next year. And then you look at the Eagles and just what they've done to try to get Garrett last offseason, then Micah. Then they tried to get Garrett at the trade deadline. Then they traded third-round pick for Jalen Phillips. Then they offered Jalen Phillips $30 million. If that doesn't tell you that a team is desperate for an edge rusher, I don't know what does. Now you're going to tell me that the guy that they try to get at the trade deadline becomes available at a position they desperately need, and they're out. I don't buy it. It doesn't make any sense. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not here saying the Eagles are going to get Myles Garrett. What I'm saying is I believe Myles Garrett's getting traded, and I believe the Eagles will be involved in some way. That doesn't mean they'll win. It doesn't mean they'll get him. Give them, yeah, they would never do that. You know, I believe the Eagles want Myles, but no way 3 first rounders. That's future team suicide. How I don't do it? I don't know, man. I don't know. When you draft as well as they have drafted in the second and the third rounds, maybe he feels he could do it. But truthfully, we don't know. We don't know. All we can go on is the reports. I don't think people understand just how bad the Browns have been in the past decade. 3 firsts is franchise changing. Plus, it would throw in a player sweetening deal. Exactly. It could literally be their Herschel Walker trade if done right. You know? Philly, if Dallas really gets Garrett, do we have to make a strong push? We have to make a strong push for Max. Yeah. I mean, look, I think Dallas is going to make a strong push for Myles Garrett. I definitely think so. I mean, if they offered a first and a second for Crosby, then yeah, why are they not going to offer more for Garrett? Give him AJ in first. I don't think that would get it done. Dalton, thank you for super chat. It's a pipe dream, but having talent like Myles may even convince Vic to stay another year or two. Thank you for super chat. Yeah, I don't think it's a pipe dream. I really don't. I think it's a legitimate. I think we're talking about a legitimate situation. It doesn't guarantee that they're getting him. I'm not saying that they're even the favorite to land him. I'm just saying that they're going to be interested. It just would make sense. Now, how much are they willing to fight to get him? I don't know. I think there'll be multiple teams involved. But I do not believe for an instant, I do not believe Myles Garrett is going to be a Brown next year. I do not believe they made that contract. They did that to keep him. They're going to trade him. And they should if they're smart. Don't forget, Andrew Berry, the Browns GM, worked under Howie, and his brother currently works the Eagles. His brother does? I didn't realize that. If I were given, yeah, the Browns would never do that. The Browns got to trade him to change their team. They need the picks to basically rebuild their team. King Tone, thank you for super chat, my man. Appreciate it. Myles Garrett on the Eagles defense. Coverage, sacks, stacked D-line, elite secondary, double Carter or Davis, and now Garrett 101. Yeah, that's not fair. It's not. It would be like, really, it would be the closest we've seen since Reggie, Jerome, and Clyde. It would be on that level. I think it would. Hey, Mr. International, goes Philly Potatoes. Oh, happy birthday, man. Happy 27th birthday to you, my friend. Happy birthday. I love Tyrann McKee. I wouldn't trade him for anything less than a second-round pick. See how easy it is to give people the props? Yeah. Yeah, that's what the Eagles were asking for, the Jets said. You know, hey, Philly, what's good if I want to tell them to bring their receipts? Always. D-line costs too much? I don't know. You're not paying them. That don't look too much to me. That looks very workable. That looks very, very workable to me. What's up? What's up, my man? How are you? To add context, 500. If they restructured Myles for cap relief, what's the subsequent move? Extending DeJuan Jones? They just signed Elgton Jenkins and traded for Tyus Howard. Good move. What's next? Yeah, I agree. I agree. And to me, if you really wanted to just move his contract around, I don't understand why you would touch 26 when you have to pay that bonus anyways. So 27, 28 would have made sense, but to mess with 26 is a little weird. I do not believe Myles Garrett will be on the Browns at the start of the season. I don't know where he's going to be. I'm not saying I do. All I'm saying is he ain't going to be on the Browns. And if you look at the Eagles' track record the last, year or two, they've gone after elite pass rushers. Take that for what it is. I mean, I don't know what the Browns' subsequent move would be next. I don't even know what they're trying to do. The Browns are so out there, man. I don't even know. If I was the Browns, I would be trying to get a Herschel Walker type deal, and I would try to rebuild my team through the draft. Maybe they want Arch Manning. I don't know. U.S. Marine Corps, thank you for the super chat. As a Cowboys fan's perspective, you all should look at a new quarterback in the draft. I think there are some steals in the draft. I don't think Hurts is the future. And what about Dak? Is Dak the future? And thank you for the super chat. Because my guy's won a Super Bowl and been to two. How many has your guy been? I mean, I don't know. I don't understand how we would go after Hurts. Hurts has already won. Dog, thank you for super chat. People suggesting AJ to Cleveland, but Cleveland doesn't even know who's going to be throwing the ball. They need those picks this year to move up for Ty Simpson. Agreed. Would you trade Carter and first for Myles? I wouldn't. See, and don't thank you for that super chat, by the way. I don't. to me, the purpose of Myles Garrett is Jalen Carter. I want them to play together. So I don't want to trade Jalen Carter. I want him to play with Myles Garrett. But Nolan Smith would be the guy that I think I would move. I did? Oh, I thought I just read it. Oh, no. I read it, USMC. I'll read it again, though, and thank you for super chat. Cowboys fan perspective, you all should look to new quarterback in the draft. I think there are some steals in the draft. I don't think Hurts is the future. And thank you for that. Like I said in response earlier, I think Hurts is fine. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, and I don't see why he can't go to another one. You know? Now everyone's going to want Myles. Oh, yeah. Look, there's going to be multiple teams involved in that. It's not going to be just the Eagles. And the Eagles are no guarantee to get it. I think Dallas is going to be big players. I think Dallas may be the favorites to get them, to be honest with you. They've got the draft capital. Let's see. Cowboys fans or something else 500. I'll come in a chat and talk about Hurts when Dak has been pissed poor his whole career. Well, that's the thing that gets me. It's like if you're gonna trade, talk about drafting another quarterback to replace Hurts, so then Dak should be moved like right away. You don't think anybody's getting Garrett? Well, I respect that. I think Garrett's gone. I think Garrett's gone. I do not think Myles Garrett will be on the Browns next year. I don't know where he's going to be. I'm not claiming to know, but I don't think he's going to be with Cleveland. Rocky, David Super Chat. I never in my life seen so much trade talk in my life for a player when it comes to AJ. The people just want to move him, man. I not me. Throw in Philly 5. You want to trade me too? The problem for the Eagles being such a good team, out picks are not worth as much shit. Teams such as Dallas. That's true. I mean, I think that's maybe one of the reasons why the Browns are trying to extend. I mean, isn't it interesting that the Browns are also trying to add the amount of years in which you can trade in the future a first-round pick? They want to add 3 more years in the future. And to me, one of the reasons may be because they want to get a team that is good now and maybe take a future draft pick when they think they're not going to be as good. So, yeah, it is interesting. Do I think we get Garrett? I don't know. I can't say I think we're going to get him. I think we're going to try. I think Howie's going to make an effort. I think there will be a legit effort made. And I just say that because of their track record. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't believe Myles Garrett will be in Cleveland next year, though. I don't, Yeah, I think the Browns are going to trade him, too. And it makes sense. I mean, the guy just broke the sack record. When's his value ever going to be any higher? You know what I mean? Otherwise, if you're the Browns, what are you doing? You're just wasting this guy's career. You don't trade him now or get max value for him. Every year from here on in, he's most likely going to cost you less and less. You're going to get less and less for him. You're not winning in the next few years. But if you could trade him, oh, man, get like a Herschel Walker type haul, you could rebuild your team if you draft well. Will the Browns draft well? Probably not. Dalton David Super Chat. Myles started dating Chloe. Now he wants some of that gold hardware of his own. Get that man to Philly. There you go. Who the hell's Chloe, by the way? I don't know who that is. Bonzology said, and thank you, Dalton, for that Super Chat. I bet Myles will renegotiate his contract for more cash as stipulation of his trade. I don't know. He's got, what has he got? $30-something million, $29 million coming to him in August. I don't know. My man, we're gonna have to get you. I'm gonna have to get you on the show, man, at some point. We'll get you back on. Our front office and coaching. You mean the front office that drafted him and the coaching staff that played in 2 Super Bowls with him? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think Myles Garrett could be too expensive to extend him in Cleveland. So I think they might as well trade him to clear cap space, a ton of money. Well, they just signed him. I mean, they literally just gave him a huge contract last year. You know, it's not like this is like a contract a few years. Literally last offseason, they gave him a contract extension. So they're already renegotiating his contract. I could understand year 2027, 2028 messing with those years. But this year, nah, I think they're setting it up. You know, if we get Garrett, the chances are our first round picks over the next few years will be near the end of the first round. So it might not be as expensive as people think. I think that's how Howie probably looks at it. You know what I mean? I think Howie probably looks at it like that. Yeah. Will it cost 3 first round picks? That's my other question, because Crosby went for 2 first round picks. So what did Micah go for? Micah went for 2 and a player, right? Yeah, it might maybe you get away with like 2 first round picks, a player, and like a mid round pick or a couple mid picks. Chloe's a Cleveland Super. Oh well, yeah, I wouldn't know who that is. One thing we are overlooking is how the Browns handled Schwartz. That may have been the final nail for Myles staying with the Browns. So what is Schwartz gone? He's not there, right? Is he taking the year off? This is the thing. Everyone hated on Romo. Now they hate on Dak, but nobody ever blamed the front office in their hiring. All you have to do is go on Mark Holmes' channel, and that's all they blame. At some point, your quarterback has to win you big games. You know, he just has to. I think the Eagles should pay AJ to stay off social media. It's too much of a distraction. Yeah, I hear you. Dak won 7 games last year. We could talk about him. Y'all beneath us. You're super. Exactly. Offer the Browns 2-1s, Nolan Smith. Interesting. Why does your audio keep cutting? I don't know. Is anybody else having that problem? Dalton Davis super chat. Chloe Kim, Philly, 2-time Olympic gold medals, 1 silver, 8-time game gold medals. Damn. She's pretty damn accomplished then. I know. And you believe that, Sue Blaze? Did you believe it when they said Max Crosby wasn't getting traded? Did you believe it when they said A.J. Brown wasn't getting traded from the Titans? Did you believe it when they said Micah Parsons wasn't getting traded? My point being is, what do you think the Browns are going to say? Yeah, we're trading them. Yeah, we don't want them. Then what happens when you do that? You get lower offers because people are like, well, you don't want them anyways. Why are we going to give you max value? They got to say that. They got to say that. So I don't believe it. My money is on that Myles Garrett will not be a Brown next year. Do you think we get? I'm not going to say I think we get him. All I'm going to say is that I don't think he's a Brown next year. And I think the Eagles will be interested. And I think the Eagles will be a player in the sweepstakes. And I think multiple teams will. But I can't tell you that I think they're going to get him. I think they're going to try. And the reason I say that is like I said at the beginning of the show. You look at what they did last offseason. They tried to trade for Myles Garrett. You look at what they did before the start of the season. They almost got Micah Parsons. You look at what they did, they tried to get Myles Garrett to trade them. All just said it was a 3 first round. Okay, whatever. They tried to make a play for Myles Garrett at the deadline. Didn't work. Then they went out and got Jalen Phillips for a 3rd round pick to play, 4 or 5 games? Then they offered Jalen Phillips $27 million. Then they've been trying to get Grenard. And see, the problem is Grenard's another problem because he's asking for $30 million, which is insane. So the one thing we do know about the Eagles over the course of the last, year and a half to 2 years is when a premier pass rusher comes available, they have been trying to get them. And I don't think that's going to change now. How would a trade for work to get Myles Garrett? You got to agree with compensation. But, I mean, in terms of, what it would cost the Eagles could fit him in right now and not have a problem. So it's just about, coming to an agreement on compensation. We have a lot of comp picks and 5th rounders. Throw them in with the 1st rounders. Yeah, I'm sure Howie would do all sorts of things like that. Drummer Jones, what's going on? Whatever Howie does, that has to keep that 2027 1st round pick, Philly. It's crucial drafts so loaded. I know. That's why my suggestion was a 1st in 2026, a 2nd and a 3rd in 2027. So we would keep that 27 first, and then 2028 another 1st, and then Nolan Smith. Yeah, Dak is a poor man's McNabb. That's so true. 2 firsts and Smith, yeah, I like that. I mean, I think, like I said, I don't think Nolan Smith is a bust. I think he's got talent. He could still be very good. But if you look at Nolan Smith, he would be the odd man out if you were to get Myles Garrett anyways. Because you're not going to extend Myles Garrett. I mean, you're not going to extend Nolan Smith. You got Myles Garrett. So why not include him in a trade? That would be my thing. MJ, man, thank you for the super chat, man. Very generous of you, man. Thank you so much. Remember 500, Howie Roseman tried to get defensive end Trey Hendrickson in free agency from Baltimore through. That's right. That's another guy that they were trying to get, Hendrickson. So, I mean, they've tried to get pass rusher. I don't think it's going to stop now. Is there a possibility the Eagles can extend A.J. to stay in the team before? I mean, they could, but remember, he's under contract. A.J.'s under contract through 2029. 500, we should leave A.J. out of the trade for Myles. Try 2 firsts, Nolan, and a 2nd or 3rd sweetened deal. Yeah, I agree. To me, Jalen Carter and A.J. are 2 guys that I want to avoid trading. I want them on that team with Myles. It was, okay, you're all good. No, Nolan Smith has only... Well, I'm just saying, if you get Myles Garrett, how are you going to pay... You're going to have to pay Carter Davis, Myles Garrett. I just don't see them... I don't see them extending Nolan Smith at that point. He's kind of expendable. Tortiville says, the Browns will rework this contract for a reason. The reason is they want to trade him now while he has maximum value. Agreed. You'll never get more for him than now, right? And if the Browns aren't, if you're the Browns and you're not going to compete or win a Super Bowl or even be competing for a Super Bowl the next 2 or 3 years, then why would you keep him on the team? And the way, let me find it, the way his contract is set up for those that are late, this is what it would cost the Eagles as cap numbers to have Myles Garrett on your team, right? He would come in this year if you trade, and he would only be $9.1 million against your cap. Totally workable. 2027, $17 million against the cap. 2028, $21 million against the cap. It's not until 2029 it balloons up to $57 million. At that point, you rework it or do whatever you got to do. But for 26, 27, 28, any team that acquires him, this is what he's going to cost you against the cap. That's not bad at all. That is ridiculously good. That's why they redid the contract. This will entice teams these 3 years. It will entice teams to trade for him because you can fit it into that cap. It's very, very doable. And they sure did negotiate that contract to set up for trades. Browns say that to build up value. Yeah. They got it. You got it. If you're the Browns, you have to say we're not trading him. As soon as you say you trade him, then everybody's going to lowball you. Here's my thing. If I'm a betting man, I do not believe the Browns will have Myles Garrett on their team next. If he's on their team next year, I'm gonna be surprised and I'm gonna laugh and go, well, that's why the Browns are the Browns. But I don't think there's any way Myles Garrett is a Cleveland Brown next year. I don't think it's gonna happen. I have no idea where he's going. I'm not saying he's going to. I can't say that, but I don't think he's going to be a Brown. I bet you it's a player nobody's talking about how he has his eyes on. And this Myles Garrett talk is probably helping with the smoke screen. The draft will have a lot of trades going down. Maybe. I mean, the Myles Garrett situation doesn't have anything to do with the Eagles, except for the Eagles have a history over the last, year and a half of trying to get him. So, Myles Garrett thing's going down whether the Eagles have anything to do with it or not. Question is where's he going to go? He very well could go to Dallas. Listen, I think Dallas is, I might list Dallas as the favorite to get him, and I hate to say that, but they've got the picks. The problem with Dallas is how many picks has Dallas got in 2027? So they got 2 first-round picks this year. Do they have 2 first-round picks next year? Because if I was Cleveland, I would ask for 2 first-round picks next year. I think the Eagles front office loves Garrett. I won't be surprised if the Eagles do it. No, I definitely think. I think they're going to try. I definitely think they're going to try. I mean, if you really offered 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett at the deadline, why all of a sudden are you not going to be involved again? I would assume that they would jump in all over it. If Nolan can bulk up, he has the potential to be an All-Pro. He's 238 and Myles is 265. Nolan gets about 255. Watch out. Agree. No, Nolan's got a world of ability. There's no reason to give up on him. He just may be expendable. Garrett 6'4", 272. Damn. The biggest concern about Garrett is the age. He's going to be 31 next December. So, you got probably a good 4 years left. I think Myles gives you 4 good years. I think he gives you 4 good years. I think the Raiders showed their hand, are down to get rid of Crosby, and he feels a need desperate. Our edge couldn't stop the run last year. Well, I think Crosby he's the perfect example of why you can't listen to the Browns say we're not interested in trading. You can't believe that. Nobody believes that. The Raiders did the same thing. It's either Garrett or Grenard. Howie won't let Garrett go get away this time if Cleveland's serious about trading him. Yeah, I think Howie makes a play. See, and the problem with Grenard, Grenard, they said that yesterday they said that he wants $30 million. He wants $30 million. So now you got to pay for Grenard a mid-round pick, like a second or third. And then you got to pay him $30 million. He ain't worth $30 million. When they were predicting his contract, it was 21 to 22 million. Now he wants 30. I'm not paying Grenard $30 million. Do you think Jalix Hunt has 10 plus sacks this year? If so, do you think we pay him? I have him getting 8.5 sacks this year. I think he has potential. I'm going to say he's going to come in just under it. And I do think they'll pay him, and I think he'll probably be reasonable. Yeah, they said that he wants, his agent said he wants what Jalen Phillips got. Yeah, I don't give him $30 million either. Garrett's paid. Garrett's already paid. Myles Garrett just got a contract extension in last year. He just got one. Garrett's not going to have to, you don't have to give him more money. Just get Myles so we can be snapping on the sideline for losing any more. Come on over to Philly, start winning. I know, right? I honestly didn't know who he was until you started saying his name. I don't know. Who are we talking about? Grenard's better than Jalen Phillips, and Phillips just got $30 million per year. If I was him, I don't blame Grenard for asking for $30 million. I just wouldn't pay him. I wouldn't pay him $30 million. If I'm the Eagles. He's too old. He's 29 years old. At least Jalen Phillips is 26, but Grenard is better. I mean, Grenard is more accomplished. I still think Phillips has the higher ceiling, but he hasn't reached it yet. So just a hypothetical, would you trade Cooper DeJean and 2 number 1s for Garrett? I wouldn't do it, but I'm curious, would you? No, I probably wouldn't. No. Two number 1s and Coop? No. But I have to think about it. Garrett is a generational talent. Generational talents like Bruce Smith, Jerry Rice have played to their 40s. I have no problem with getting Myles Garrett at 30 years old. You are so right, man. You know, I think 4 or 5 good years left. Easy. He is. He's a generational talent. He would be, if you added him, my God, dude, that defensive line would be so scary. But yeah, I agree with you. Chadwick says, God bless Steve Nation, Garrett Crosby. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, Grenard, yeah. I'm not giving a guy for $30 million for 2 sacks. Yeah. Michael says, Philly, what's up, bro? How you feel about the offseason? So far, you know, I think it's been okay. I still think we've got some moves to make. It's early yet, so I'm not too panicked. But I think there are a couple moves that have to be made. You have to get yourself an edge rusher. I think the Eagles need an established edge rusher, and then I also think they got to rebuild the line. But I do like I love the second, I love the Woolen signing. I thought that was such a great signing. I like some of the tight end signings, and you know, so it's been okay. But you know, I don't think the needle has been moved that much, and I don't think it really can be until you get an edge rusher. Bosa, he's always hurt. Is this Garrett stuff legit? Yeah, legit. He's getting traded. Yeah, legit. He's getting traded. Now, the other part, the Eagle part of it, you have to connect the dots. The Eagles tried to get him last offseason. They offered what? Reportedly 3 first-round picks at the deadline for him. So if you take all those things, then it would seem like the Eagles should be in on this. But as far as the Browns trading him, yeah, I think the Browns are definitely trading him. 432 Bird Gang, what's going on? Garrett only costs $9 million cap space 2026. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, that's why they redid the contract. I mean, they set it up so it's easy to trade him, you know? What up, Taco? How are you? You think the Raiders get Garrett? Oh, God, could you imagine? See, I would assume that Garrett, he apparently has a no-trade clause. I would assume that that's where he waives it, you know? I'm not a huge fan of the wide receivers in this draft. People are trying to link us to Omar Cooper. I don't see him a lot of exposure in this game. Good college player, but not sure he'll be a great wide receiver. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way as you. There's no receiver in this draft that gets me excited. Like, I think there's some decent guys, and I think they could be decent, but nobody that I'm like, eh. Like Omar Cooper, What, in the first round, really, over like some of the linemen that are going to be there and stuff? So I'm kind of with you. Miles and Max, who needs quarterbacks, right? Hey, Philly, how's it going? I just got home. What's going on, man? How are you? Let's see here. We've been on for like almost an hour and a half. Holy crap. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I think Garrett wants to go to a competitor. And the Browns know that if they trade him, they're going to have to trade. Most likely, they're going to trade him to a team that's pretty good. That's why the Browns are asking the league to extend how many years out you can trade players for, because they know that good teams, if they can extend when they get first rounders, maybe those good teams at the time are not good in the future. It's interesting. 500, if you had the chance to give Myles Garrett a number in Philly, what would it be? 95. 95. What is 95? He gets his number. I wouldn't mind the defensive end from Auburn. His measurements are insane. Height, weight. Not sure his first round projection, but might be a beast. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I mean, look, I think there's some decent edge rushers in here. But to me, it's like, the Eagles draft the edge rusher is not good enough. They need a veteran. They need somebody who's done it in the NFL before. 4132, thank you for super chat. 500, I think the Garrett stuff is all smoke. The Browns just want people talking about the Browns, just trying to get publicity. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. I don't agree. I think he's gone. I think he's getting traded. I think there's like a 90% chance he's traded. The Browns redid his contract to trade him. They have to try to trade. It only makes sense. Otherwise, nobody talks about the Browns, Garrett wants to be in Dallas. Yeah, everybody wants to go to Dallas. Dean wanted to go to Dallas, and Blankenship. Everybody wants to go to Dallas until they don't want to go to Dallas. Yeah, I don't buy it. Now, look, if you're going to tell me, is Dallas going to be a player in Myles Garrett? Yeah, I think they're a major player. A major player. LP celebrates 70 months of membership. Thank you so much, man, for your support, man. I appreciate you. Yo, Philly, Howie's cooking up something. I believe you're right. Ty Robinson would have to give up 95. Oh, well, you know what? I wouldn't even have a choice. Hey, Robinson, you could be another number. I think Dallas might be the favorite to land. Yeah, if I was doing an odds of like who I think lands them, I think Dallas is the favorite. I hate to say it. I don't want to say it, but if you look at the fact that the Cowboys offered a first and a second for Max Crosby, why wouldn't they offer more for Myles Garrett? I mean, the numbers aren't that bad. They could afford it in their salary cap. I think they probably would be. I think they would be the favorites. I would put the Eagles top 3. And I'm trying to think who else. I don't know who else, but I'm sure there'll be multiple teams. And here's another advantage. Like if I'm the Browns, I don't want to trade him in the AFC. I'm trying to move him in the NFC. I want him out of conference. So I don't want a team like the Patriots to get him. They got to pay Pickens. Yeah, but the thing about it, though, is, and I'll show this again, is this is what it costs teams to bring Garrett in. Garrett would only cost the Cowboys $9 million. So they could still pay Pickens. In year 2, you'd only go up to $17 million. 2028, $21 million. You don't have to worry about it till 2029. So, I mean, that's affordable. That's why the Browns did it. They wanted to make it as appealing as possible and to allow the most possible teams to come and bid for him. Garrett will not make them Super Bowl contenders. They are still stuck with Dak at quarterback. However, if they give up a 3 first, it could screw them for the next few years. I think Dallas, look, I don't know if Dallas is a Super Bowl contender, but they're instantly a playoff team. They're going to playoffs. Look, that defensive line, with those 2 interior tackles that they got, you add Myles Crosby, that defense is going to be significantly better. I don't know that I would say they're Super Bowl contenders, but I think they're playoffs. I don't think Dallas is a playoff team right now. I think they go to the playoffs. I think he could change. He could change a lot in Dallas, dude. And if they could add a couple linebackers, maybe trade through the draft, Dallas, you can't sleep on them, man. I hate to say it. Myles to Dallas is bad. Myles has already said he wants to come to Philly. Do you ever? No, I know he said it, but I don't have the exact quote, so I'm not saying it because I don't want to butcher it. But he has said in the past, when they were doing the cross training with the Browns and the Eagles, he's made comments about going to the Eagles and would love it type stuff. So it's true. I just don't have the exact quote. Yeah, he didn't say that he wanted to go to Dallas. He said he wanted to go to Philly, actually. Garrett would be a better fit in Vic's scheme than Crosby. I don't think Crosby can drop coverage very well. Garrett can play any system, anywhere. It don't matter, dude. I agree, Philly. If they get Garrett, they would go on to the playoffs only to have... Yeah, of course. Dak is still Dak at the end of the day. Dak is still Dak. It'd be something like they're in a playoff game and it's 23-23 versus the Packers. And, Garrett's, forces fumble and Love. The Cowboys got the ball at the 30-yard line. Dak, he's just got to settle for a field goal. They could win the game. But he goes back and passes it and he gets picked off. And it's just a pick six. And the Packers win. And Dak would still choke and then Mark would blame everybody else. He doesn't know trade clause. He'll end up in. Why would he want to go to Dallas though? He might end up in Dallas. I'm sure there's multiple teams he would go to. I mean, we already know he's already said stuff about playing for the Eagles before that he would love it. So what do you want to give up for Garrett Farmer? This is no brainer. Here's my offer: a 2026 first, a 2027 second and third round pick, a 2028 first, and Nolan Smith. So I'm going to give up 4 picks, a first in 2026, a second and a third in 2027, and a first in 2028. And then I'm going to give Nolan Smith. That's my offer. Amshare reported they are 100% not trained. And you believe that? Like I said, I don't believe that. For instance, just like the Raiders were not going to trade Max Crosby. Just like the Cowboys were not going to trade Micah Parsons. Just like the Titans weren't going to trade A.J. Brown. No. Don't listen to what they're saying. Listen to what they're doing. That's the key. What are they doing? The Browns there's no reason to renegotiate that contract after 1 year. Not even 1 year. Unless you're trying to set the stage for him to get moved. 90% Myles Garrett is not on the Cleveland Browns next year. I do not believe those reports at all. Cowboys too cheap. They won't trade the picks. They're just like the idea of having multiple firsts. Yeah, you're right. They may be too cheap. And you know what? The Eagles aren't. Just like the Eagles are not trading. Well, yeah. I mean, and remember, I did a video and I said the Eagles should trade for A.J. Brown. And I did a video that year. I did a couple, and I said the Eagles should trade for A.J. Brown. And then I said the Eagles should trade for one of the 3 receivers. It was Metcalf, Debo, and A.J. All 3 of those guys were fighting for contracts. And I was like, the Eagles should make a play to whichever one they get. I got killed. I got killed for saying it. No, they're not trading A.J. Brown. Stop it. You're just clickbaiting, blah, 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 blah. And I was just going by the facts. The Eagles need a receiver. The Eagles have tried to get receivers. And, just the same what I'm doing here with Crosby, the tea leaves, just looking at what the Eagles have tried to do and what the other teams do. No, there's no way they'll trade for A.J. Brown. No way they're trading A.J. Titans said they're not. And then boom, they do it. So you can't believe these teams. But you can look at like how things have gone. One, Myles Garrett is going to get traded. Two, the Eagles have tried to get him last offseason. They tried to get him at the trade deadline. They need an edge rusher. So why wouldn't they be in on it? I don't listen to things like when people say, "Oh no, this or that." I don't. If my gut tells me no, I don't believe it. I've heard it too many times. Look at the actions. Don't look at what they say. We give them a 2026 first, 2027 first, a 2028 first, and our backup starting guard. 6'6". They need offensive linemen. Book it, done deal. We win in the division because we're winning the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl. Dude, that defense goes from being really good to maybe one of the best we've seen in 10, 15 years. You add Myles Garrett. Howie will take Sadiq, Cinnamon, or Blake Miller? Maybe. I hope we get Myles Garrett just so we could tell those. Oh, man, it would be fun. It would be fun. You want How come you want Crosby over Garrett? I'm just curious. Here's Garrett's numbers, by the way. I mean, these numbers are insane, dude. 2017, 7 sacks, 13.5, 10, 12, 16, 16, 14, 14, 23. He's a beast, man. Trevon Walker set to be a free agent in 2027, so if the Jags start off slow, Walker could be an Eagles much less. Agreed. But he's not this. I mean, you're talking about two different caliber players. I mean, we're talking about a generational talent. You know, I think you put him, like I said, I don't think he's Reggie White, but I think guys like Derek Thomas, think of like the next level below Reggie White. I think you're talking about Hall of Fame generational talent pass rusher. I just don't think. I think if you get a chance to get a guy like that, you do it. If the Eagles got Garrett and we're able to keep AJ one more year, I don't think anyone beat us. Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. The Browns GM used to work with Howie Roseman, so I think that will help to get the deal done. Yeah, he did. And the Eagles tried already. They've been trying. So why would they not try now? I feel like I really want Caden Proctor, 6'6", 366-pound behemoth. Yeah, he sounds like he's got a ton of talent. I like that pick. I would love it. Yeah, how about Jurgen saying he feels? Also, Dickerson says he feels. Yeah, I mean that's huge. If that offensive line returns to what it was 2 years ago, no, they're going to beat everybody. You know, it's true. I was very happy to hear that. But the one thing I got to say about the Jurgens thing, why would they play him? Like, what was the point of playing him? Like, if his back is fractured to that level, I get it for the playoff run. But, like, last year, why did they shut him down last year? Should have shut him down. You know? Myles tackled. Yeah, his tackles for losses, I didn't even put that up, are ridiculous. You guys will get Crosby, and we get Myles at the battle. It'll be interesting battles. It's the same silly son of bitches that are saying, we don't need Myles. How effing do you? He's 19,500 years old. Yeah, see, I think he's better than Von Miller in his prime. I think he's better than Von Miller in his prime. Yeah. I think you could put him up with, like, Strahan. Maybe even better. Like, Myles is no joke. Myles, if Myles played on a team, that was on Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football consistently, people would see how good he is. He has 23 sacks playing on a team that usually was losing in the fourth quarter, and the other teams weren't even throwing the ball that much. Can you imagine if he's on a team that's winning every game? The medical staff last year was terrible, rushing Dickerson back and not resting Jurgens and not recommending Carter get surgery before season. Yeah, all big mistakes, man. We've been in edge hell ever since we lost Reddick. It's true. I mean, like we did all right with Sweat and stuff. Like, we probably should have kept Josh Sweat. He's making $19 million right now. That's a bargain, I think people should go watch Garrett. I've never seen a guy come off the ball as quick as. Yeah, he's something. I think he's one of the best players that we've seen in a long, long time. They're gonna call us a stacked team again. Yeah, they will. No question. I mean, look, it's an interesting debate, But if you think like me that the Browns are trading Garrett, which I definitely do, and I don't care what they're saying, then you got to think the Eagles are going to have. They're going to at least pick up the phone. You know what I mean? Probably going to pick up the phone. No, I can't. Myles and Crosby. I mean, that's like just below Reggie White and Jerome Brown. I think Howie will do it, dude. Like, I think Howie goes, if I have Myles Garrett, I'm probably going to the Super Bowl the next 2 to 4 years in a row. I'm probably in the championship games. All my picks are going to be late anyways. It's worth it. If it ever was worth it, it's worth it for that guy. I think you got 4 or 5 good years left with him. If he doesn't get 23 sacks next year, he's still going to get like 14, 15 sacks. With the Eagles, man. Howie's already offered. Yeah, well, that was the report. The report was at the trade deadline. And I think it was like Schefter. I mean, this were legit. That it was the Eagles offered 3 first-round picks. Now, we don't really officially know. When they asked Howie didn't say how much he offered, but he said he basically admitted, yeah, I always going to take a chance at a player like that, of course. Is basically what he said. So, yeah, we know that they made a play for him last year. Remember how shocking it was? Nobody expected them to do that, but they did. So, yeah, I think so. CT King of Kings, man, thank you for the super chat. He goes, Eagles would have to overpay to get Garrett, I think. 2 firsts, Nolan, Jomo can get it done. We can't resign any of them anyways. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Nolan would be a great piece because you're not going to extend him once you get Myles Garrett. And he's still young. He's still got upside. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a battle for him because I think there's going to be a lot of teams interested. And you're going to see Dallas is going to be interested. Who else do you think will be interested in him? I'm sure the Patriots would be interested, although I think they probably want to trade him to the NFC. But I think you're going to have 3 or 4 legit teams willing to go. Maybe Chicago. We'll see. Manny, thank you for super chat, my man. Myles Garrett with your kiddies will be in the Super Bowl. There you go. Yeah, it'd be crazy, right? No, I wouldn't trade Cooper, DeJean Carter, and No, I wouldn't do that. That's too much. I want to keep. I want Carter to play with Myles Garrett. I don't want to lose Carter. I want Carter there playing with Myles and being mentored by him. Rams could be, yeah. Ravens, yeah. I mean, look, there's going to be teams. And we know Crosby went for 2 1s. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. If they trade him, what will the Browns say after they said he's not tradable? Well, they'll do what every other team does. Well, we love Myles and we really appreciate everything he did here, but that was an offer that we just could not turn down. It was too important to the team and what was best for the organization. Just like they said in Tennessee when they traded A.J.Brown. Just like Dallas said when they traded Micah. And just like Max Crosby when the Raiders traded him. It happens. Eagles are daydreaming right now? Not at all. It's not a daydream. It's just legit, dude. And just for your information, Dallas has every good of a chance to go get him too. I think Dallas may be the favorites. It's not a daydream. It's just reality, buddy. Rocket David Super Chat, he goes, that's insane how bad Jurgen's back really was. It is. To hear that his back was that bad and then to say, why didn't you shut him down? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you could see it. Like every week, it's like you watch the all 22s. Him and Dickerson, it was like 1, 2, they let go. They could not finish their blocks. They could not play to the whistle. Yeah, anybody, whoever said Eagles fans are dreaming, don't know how it works. Well, they don't understand what the hell's going on, because the truth is Myles is getting traded. Then if you just connect the dots, the Eagles, they need a pass rusher, and they've been trying to get this guy for 2 years. It's not going to stop now. Jerry didn't pay Parsons to prove a point. Yeah, I think the way Parsons handled himself was really pissed Jerry off. Like when he was laying on the medical tent and stuff. Do people not remember seeing Nnamdi Asomugha and Maxwell in the secondary getting torched almost every play? Why would you trade? Nah, you wouldn't trade those guys. No. 500. I wasn't saying Crowder. I was saying, could you imagine Jalen Carter? Oh. Okay, yeah. I got you. MC Heavy, you just came into a conversation. You have no idea what the hell you're talking about. You're not even making sense, dude. I don't even know what you're talking about. That's typical. He came in late, doesn't know what's going on. He's just trying to piece to pieces. He has no idea of the conversation. Guys like that, you just could keep going. He did. He has basically said that. 500, Jerry, let me screw him position versus Laurie, let me pay him from position. Results are self-evident. That's 100% truth. The biggest advantage of playing in Dallas is no income taxes. Oh, they don't have income tax? They don't have state tax in Texas? I didn't know that. Maybe I did. I can't remember. He's going somewhere. I don't know where he's going, but he's gone. He's gone. So if I'm not mistaken, Walker's, he grew up in Dallas. He wants to come. Well, he might have. Yeah, he might have come. Look, I think he's probably want to go to multiple places. And I think Dallas is definitely one of those places. Look, I think Dallas is probably, if Dallas really wants it, they have the inside track. They got the picks. They could offer 3 picks right now. They could offer 2 this year. You know, it's just a matter of will they pull the trigger. I know the Eagles will be in on it. I know Dallas will be in on it. I think the Bears will be in on it. Probably maybe the Ravens. It's gonna be interesting. But Browns, if they do it right and they play this thing right, they can rebuild that whole franchise. And if they don't do it and they held on to him another year, they'll never get the value that they could have gotten. Drummer Jones, thank you for Super Chat. Who's gone? In terms of what? A trade? Right now, nobody. Dallas don't. The thing is see, the brilliance of what the Browns did structuring him is that these are the cap numbers. Dallas doesn't need a lot of cap room. He's only $9 million against the cap in 2026. And then 2027, he's 17, and then 21. They structured that, and they redid that so those numbers would appeal to a lot of teams so they could get more value. It's also why they're trying to get future picks, because then you could get good teams that maybe picks are going to be late now. Take one of their later picks when they may not be as good. Browns, everything the Browns are doing is the trade for him. Is to trade him. 4133, thank you for Super Chat. He wants to win. Why would he go to the Cowboys? I don't know. That Myles has to answer. He's got a no trade clause, right? I don't know. Howie's already on the phone with the Browns making a deal for. I hope so. I hope so. It's gonna be very, very interesting. This whole thing is gonna be very interesting. Dallas don't have more money than the Eagles. They got the picks though. I think that's what makes them dangerous. Imagine trying to troll, but haven't won Super Bowl anything like since the 1700s. I'll do 2 trades with the Browns. First 2-round picks. Give us Deshaun Watson. Then give it. Why would you want Watson? Stinks, dude. I don't want anything to do. I don't want anything to do with Watson, dude. Nothing. Nada. Zero. Zilch. Forget about it. Anyways, guys, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I appreciate it. It was a fun conversation. I really enjoyed it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And we'll find out. I respect all opinions. Those that agree, those that disagree. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on. But I want to thank everybody. I am going to get out of here though. I got things I got to do. So. As far as my next stuff, if something breaks, I'll come back later. Otherwise, you might not see me till Sunday. Saturday's a little busy, so unless there's breaking news, you probably won't see me until probably till Sunday. Me and Joey are going to do a shakedown. But with that said, I am going to get out of here. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'm sure this conversation will continue. I like it a little better than talking about A.J. Brown all day. That's for sure. With that said, we out. Peace. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later.